Today I'm covering an altcoin in a very bullish sector that can do a 10x in the bull run. I'm going to be going over the fundamentals of what makes it such a strong coin, and then I will go over to the technicals so you can see where you should be buying and selling this coin. So let's jump straight in. We're going to be looking at the AI sector, but more importantly the graphics card sector. Now, due to the massive unexpected rise in AI, we have not been able to sustain the infrastructure needed to support such a parabolic move in users. This has led to Nvidia soaring over 80% year to date and over 200% year on year. Now, most of us have already missed this move on Nvidia, and the chances are that's not going to do a 10x anymore to an $8,000 price per stock, which would also be, an insane market cap. However, luckily for us, there is a crypto that can potentially be the digital Nvidia replacement, and that is the Render token. Now, the Render token is the currency used on the Render network, which is a platform that allows creators to access distributed computing power for rendering digital content, such as 3D animations and other complex rendering tasks. Now, this network essentially harnesses the unused processing power of participating computers worldwide to help artists and developers render high quality graphics quickly and cost effectively. So essentially, you have an Nvidia graphics card and aren't using it but want to make money from it. You can basically rent it out digitally to someone who needs to use it to render something. Here's a bit more on how it works. If you're an artist or developer and you need to render complex graphics, you can use Render tokens to pay for the computing power on the network. This will essentially allow you to access a much larger pool of resources than you might have on your own, and it makes it possible for you to complete renders faster and at a higher quality. Now, this is if you're trying to use the Render network. However, if you already have a graphics card and want to earn money, here's what you can also do. So on the flip side, if you have a high performance computer, you can contribute your spare processing power to the network and earn Render tokens in return. This can be a good way to make use of your computer's resources when you're not using them and to earn some extra income. So on both sides, it's a very, very strong coin and strong project in general. In order to even access these digital processing powers, you would have to buy Render tokens in order to exchange them for the processing power. Now, here's some benefits of using Render. First, we have efficiency and speed. So by distributing the workload across many computers, the Render network can drastically reduce the time it takes to complete complex rendering tasks, which is particularly beneficial in industries like the film and gaming, where rendering can otherwise be a major bottleneck. Now, there has also been some speculation that Apple, NASA, Disney, and other large companies are already using Render. The next point we have is the cost effectiveness. So using Render network can be much more cost effective than the traditional rendering solutions, because I don't know if you've seen, but the Nvidia graphics cards have been either selling out instantly and resellers have been, selling them for much more, or they're just overall very expensive to start with. However, with Render, you're able to set it up and use Render and the cloud computing services for much cheaper, and you only pay for what you actually use. You're not paying for something and then you're gonna have to have it for the rest of your life. You only pay for what you need and for what you will use. Next, we have the scalability. So whether you need a little extra computing power or a lot, the Render network can scale to meet your demands. The beauty of it is, because it's powered globally, there isn't one storage facility that needs to store all of these graphics cards in order for you to access them. Because it's built on a network of thousands and thousands and thousands of members using the Render network, you're able to grasp and use all of those graphics cards in one, basically. Now, this flexibility is great for projects of all sizes. As I was saying before, Disney, NASA, Apple. You're able to use much more power for a much smaller price. Next, we have the decentralization benefit. Because it's built on the blockchain technology, the Render network is decentralized. This means it does not have a single point of failure and isn't controlled by any one company, which can provide greater security and resilience. Next, we move on to the team behind the Render network. So the Render network was founded in 2017 by a man named Jules Urbach, the CEO of Otoy Incorporated. Altoy, similar to Render, used to specialize in content creation and rendering software and technologies. Then Jules used his experiences to build the Render network. Now, the Render network is based in the Cayman Islands and is led by Tristan Relly, the head of operations, and Andrew Hyde, the head of communications. The core team behind the Render network comprises of experts from both the tech and creative industries. So the team is also very, very strong. The community as well behind Render is also very, very strong and close and tight knit, making it a very good project in the long term. Now let's jump into the technicals. So we can see Render had a massive move up since the bear market. It hit a new all-time high at around $13.82. However, I still think it has a lot more potential to grow. Now it has fallen around 40%, back down to around $7.70. Still up, a huge amount from the bear market. I mean, during the bear market, it was at 38.40 cents, which is where a lot of the team inside the Discord was accumulating. Been accumulating Render. Even ever since the last bull market, we've just been buying the dips and holding and holding. Now, if we take a look at Render with the Fibonacci tool, let's find the low and go all the way to the high. So Render is currently approaching the 0.5 level, which it has already done so previously around 2 times. And again, this pullback is quite healthy. It's nothing particularly scary. We've rallied a huge amount. We're going to see some sort of sell-off. We're going to see some sort of pullback. And the overall crypto market in general has seen a pullback ever since the Bitcoin halving. Obviously, a lot of people were expecting a huge pump, which if you've been in the crypto space long enough, or even the trading space long enough, you'll understand the point of buying the rumor, selling the news. Leading up to the hype of the halving, we saw a huge rally in Bitcoin, rallying from whatever it was, 20,000 all the way up to 60,000 and even 70,000. I mean, Bitcoin is still holding strong. This to me looks more like an accumulation phase than a distribution phase, and it looks like it will be continuing on, shortly. I don't know whether that's a few months or a few weeks, but it does look quite strong still. Now, let's go back to Render and focus on the technicals of Render. The Fibonacci golden zone would usually be in this area right here. However, there is still some way, it's another 50% dip for us to fall into this golden zone. So if I didn't hold any Render yet, this would be my first point of entry right here. I'd be looking to accumulate at this zone right here, which is, we're approaching this zone. Let me make this slightly more visible in blue. So I'd be looking to accumulate my first bit of Render right here. Then the next zone, if we do continue falling, would probably be right around, I would say, this zone right here, just above the golden zone. And the way I usually accumulate and DCA in is, for example, say I buy $100 here of Render. What I would then do is double up. Here I would buy $200, and then here in the golden zone I would buy $400. So every single time you're doubling down. Now, whatever you're comfortable risking in Render, I'd suggest opening up the chart, seeing what points of entry you personally would like to enter at. These are just some of mine. And again, because crypto is volatile, it's not like we're gonna just jump in this box and instantly jump out. So it's not like one day you'll DCA $100 and the next day, it's already spiking. What it can do is it can come into these boxes and consolidate. So if you have a much larger capital, what you can do is for every day that it's here, just keep buying $100 worth. Then when it's here, every day that it's here, you just keep buying $200 worth, and so on and so forth. So that's what you can also do as a DCA strategy. The key thing is you don't want to buy render or any specific crypto or stock for that matter at one level and go all in. You want to always keep some reserve capital to DCA in at lower prices, and that way you'll always have a nice and safe entry. Again, you also don't want to ignore these phases and just wait until we fall into this golden zone and then just buy up this golden zone, because again, what can happen is we might not hit this golden zone, we might just bounce off of here, we might just bounce off of here and end up rallying, and then you will have missed out on this move. So the best thing to do is always dollar cost average in. Don't wait for one zone and don't go all in on the first zone. As for targets for render, as the title suggested, I am expecting a 10x, but again, slightly clickbait, I won't lie. Regardless, I still think render is going to do huge numbers. The targets I'm personally going to be looking at. So again, on the fib, I'd be looking for targets of $26, $26, $18.50, $38, $33, and I think that's about it for the basic fib settings. So these are just some of the realistic targets. Obviously there's going to be people that expect $100 and $200, but the way I'm looking at render is quite similarly to Solana in the previous bull run. Solana was also trading at roughly $7 to $15 when I first started accumulating it, and now it's trading at $135 in the previous bull run. I mean, this bull run it's already hit $200. In the previous bull run it hit $260. So and I was accumulating right before the first initial run up at around $7 to $15. And the overall price action, the community, the team, the project looks similar to how Solana was in that time period as well. Obviously Solana and Render are two very different projects. However, the core understanding and the core price action of it is still very similar. So whilst we could see a $100-$200 render token price, I would also try to sell some at these levels as well. Don't just try and hold to the moon. Take some profits as well. So if you're looking for some short-term profits, I'd recommend taking a price target of like $26. Still, if you're accumulating from $7, $5, it's still going to be around a 5x. And then once you've taken some healthy profits, you can also leave some just to let it run, and then I'd be looking at price targets of $50, $60, $75, which is starting to look at the 10x mark. So that's my essential analysis on render. Now, I like the render token, I like the project, and I like the coin, and that's why I'm buying. But of course, anything can happen in crypto. This could go to zero tomorrow, the whole market could go to zero tomorrow, nobody knows. So make sure to do your own research. Open up the chart for yourself as well. See what you see. You might not be able to see what I see, and that's okay. Just make sure to do some research into it yourself. See some drawdowns of it. See if there's anything negative behind it that you can find. If you guys did enjoy the video and want to see more coins that I'm holding in my portfolio, then make sure to check out the Discord linked in the description. There you will receive access to all of my team's trades, my portfolio holdings, learning resources, and much more. Make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye, guys.